Hi everyone, this is Tosin, aka Sickle Cell Warrior. I wanted to talk today about my very first crisis. I know that there are a lot of children on the forum sometimes, and it's hard to really understand what's going on with your body, especially when you've never experienced a crisis before. I know that a lot of people, they don't have crisis until they actually hit their teen years, and it's kind of alarming because you're used to your body behaving a certain way, and then it just completely flips the script on you. So anyway, I'm going to talk about my first crisis. I only have a vague recollection of this. I was 5, and it wasn't until I was having a recent conversation with my dad that he filled me in on the parts I didn't understand. So I was 5 years old when I had my first crisis, and my whole family, we had gone to the beach that day. We lived in Michigan, and it was summer. It was super hot outside, and my dad said that he had dug a hole in the sand, and he was just like, it was just like a big hole. We were all playing with sand and just digging a big hole right there by the beach. And then my dad was like, oh, who wants to get in the hole? And we bury them. And I was like, oh, I totally want to do that. And I jumped right in. I was courageous and feisty, and I never really had fear. So I jumped right in, and all my siblings, all my sisters, we all like stuck me in the sand and covered me up in the sand. And I was in there for just a few minutes. It wasn't even a long time. It was probably like, they stuck me in the sand, and then I just started feeling pain. And I thought it was maybe because I couldn't move. It was because of the sand. So I told my dad, I was like, please, I want to get out. It's hurting. So my dad was like, okay, sure. So then they dug me up. And then I couldn't walk. And I was in so much pain. I started crying. My parents were all around just super worried. What's wrong with her? What's wrong with her? And the pain was so bad. It was in my legs. And it was just so bad. I couldn't walk, and I was just crying. I couldn't really explain it because I'd never had it before. So my dad was like, we have to leave right now. We're going to the hospital. So they took me to the hospital, and I had had a crisis caused by being in the wet sand, which was my very first crisis. So I don't remember much of anything else that happened, but I remember that I did have to take penicillin every day when I was a kid, which I absolutely hated. And I remember that my parents did sit me down, and they said, you have sickle cell. And I remember my doctor's appointments and going to see the doctor. And I remember the very first doctor visit, and he told me, he said, he pulled my mom aside, and he thought I wasn't listening because I was playing with my doll. And he's like, yeah, she's not going to live past 10. So I just want to prepare you for that. And I heard that, and that just completely changed my life. But we'll talk about that later in another video about why it's not good for doctors to give age limits on people. So that is the story of my first crisis, and all of you who have YouTube channels, leave the story of your first crisis, in the comment section, and we'll all talk about it. Or you can go to the Sickle Cell Facebook site and talk about it there. So I look forward to hearing all your stories. See ya.